Hey, welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Gear. My name is Tony, and today I'm all decked out with my headphones here. So don't make fun of me if I have bad hair in this video. I'm doing it for you guys. Today we're looking at the Cerberus unit from NUX. And this unit is something that I've had possession of for a couple of weeks now. And I'm really enjoying because it is a really nice all-in-one multi-effects unit. And for those of you who haven't already seen it or heard about it, check it out. There's a lot of information on YouTube already on this unit, but today we're going to go in a little bit deeper. I'm going to make you hear some sounds from it. I'm going to show you how easy it is to edit, a couple little patches, so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about it and spend some quality time together and just look at this unit, you know, between you and me, between friends. So I don't usually have this setup going on. You can see I have my camera here. It's because I want to show you the unit as I'm working, and I'm all set up with my Gibson Les Paul. And in this Les Paul that we're going to be playing today, I have a set of celebration pickups from Pariah. Check out their pickups, really great pickups in my opinion. I just had this guitar set up and I'm playing it for the first time, so brand new strings on it. If they go a little bit out of tune, just please forgive me. We'll try and minimize the out of tuneness in this video. So let's get started. Let's look at what we have here. So the Cerberus unit basically is an all-in-one, as I already mentioned, and it comes with a whole bunch of effects built in. The advantage of this unit, of course, is that you don't really need to carry a whole bunch of stuff with you when you go out to a gig. You can basically take this unit, throw it in a bag with the adapter, and you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about patch cables or batteries or, you know, other things that you would normally need to worry about. So you're basically good to go very quickly. It has a host of outputs in the back, including MIDI, USB, you know, a whole bunch of different parameters there that you can use. So you'll be able to use this device for home recording, live recording. You can plug in a pair of headphones like I'm doing here now, and you can basically use it to also, you know, use it as a practice device in your studio. You know, it's very, very functional, very, very flexible as well. So you can use it for a host of different things. Now, one of the cool features about this unit is that you can also have IRs loaded into it. So it comes with some software, and it allows you to either use the IRs that come with the unit, factory default, or you can actually just download some of your own favorite IRs and load it into the device using the software. It's not that difficult to do, and you can basically simulate cabinet and speakers. So you can use this to go into a recording DAW and simulate the cabinet, or you can go right into an amplifier and bypass that and use your own amplifier cabinet to be able to get the full sound out of the unit. So as I mentioned, it's quite flexible in that regard. Now, the other thing that's also quite nice about this unit is that the delay, modulation, distortion, and drive effects have a whole bunch of parameters that you can actually dial in so that you can use them in different ways. For example, when you're using the modulation effects, specifically the delay and you know, the spring reverb or the plate and whatnot, you can determine with these little switches that are on it how you want them to work. They can be in parallel, or you can have your delay then go into your reverb, or your reverb then go into your delay, and it's all done through a variety of little switches there. So it's quite easy to do, and it's really just a tactile thing. So without further delay, no pun intended there, let's look at some of the settings that we have already built in. So we're going to start off by just going into the unit. I'll just tune up my guitar very quickly, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, so if you want to go into the tuner, you have these two switches here on the left hand side, and basically you can tap up or down for your settings, but if you hold down the bottom switch there, you're in tuner mode. So all you have to do at that point is, you know, play the string, and you'll see the lights here light up. There's a couple of little lights, and you want to be in the middle. So there's 3 little lights, and you just tune up or down as much as you can to be able to get all your tuning so that just the center light of the 3 is on. And that way you know that you're not either sharp or flat. Now, you know, things like the tuning, for example, you'll notice that, you know, they didn't splurge on a lot of fancy screens and interactive designs. It's really low key in terms of what you're getting there. You're really just getting a simple, small screen, a couple of LEDs, but it does the job. It gives you the just enough information to be able to tune up. Once you're tuned up, all you got to do is just click out of there, and now we're ready to look at some of the patches. So the first thing we're going to do is run through a couple of sounds that I have already programmed into the unit, and then after that we'll just program something a little very quickly. So I'm going to just go down the settings here, and you can see my hairy arm's in the way, and I apologize for that, but I'm a little tight for space. So here we see we're in section A. So that means that basically these switches now will switch between 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D right over there. So each one of those is a different setting. And as you see, when I click on the different settings, the different lights and parameters all light up differently. That's because there's different settings programmed into it. Some are using the delay modulation, some might be using distortion or drive, so they'll turn on and off as you switch through them. So right now we're on patch 1A, and as you can hear, this is just a straight ahead rock sound. And in there you have a little bit of reverb, you have a little bit of drive. It sounds pretty nice and chunky. Really nice trail to the reverb, and you do have a bunch of different types of reverb you can go into there. You have, here we have spring, we have plate, we have hall. You can see that on that side. And also for the delays, they have the delays listed as, you know, 80s, 60s, and 70s there. So there's different types that you can mix and match together to get the tones that you want when you're using that. Let's quickly go to the next patch, which is going to be, if I can get it there, it's going to be number 2. Number 2, see, the number 2 patch, you have a little bit more modulation. I have a little bit of like a little tremolo thing happening there. Basically it's clean, a little bit of reverb. Very, very nice. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go to number 3. Well, I can do the patches using these buttons, but I should just do this. It's a lot easier. A relatively clean sound with a little bit of chorusing there, nothing too crazy. Another really nice rock sound. So this one has a little bit of a hall in there. A nice big fat sound, which I really do like. So let's just scroll up Really nice sounds coming out of this thing. Here we have a sound with a bunch of delay. Very nice. Nice trail to it. So you can do a lot with it with very little, you know? Here we have a sound that's more straight up rock that has a repeating delay in the background so that things kind of start repeating before they end. So you hear how nicely that fades out and just repeats. And the modulation effects, some of them, really do have that degradation. So as it fades out, you actually hear it getting worse. Like, you can hear that the repeats on this sound kind of get worse as they go. It's like that analog delay type of thing. Very nice. I like that a lot, actually. Let's go to the next section here. So this has a little bit of a slap back delay in this sound, a little bit of reverb. What else? You know, it's basically a little flange and also mixed in there, and you can do things like. You get the idea, right? So you can do a lot with just a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb, a little bit of... Sounds great to me. This sound is kind of based on the other sound, but I simplified it and I just cut down on most of the, you don't have that flange, and the distortion is not as powerful as the other one was. And the cool thing about this pedal is when you're using the distortion and the overdrive together, you can actually use them simultaneously, or you can have one go into the other, which can give you more of a vintage overdrive, or you can have something a little bit more punchy and give you more of that modern, like really heavier chug, which is pretty cool. Let's move on here. So this is definitely more of a saturated sound. So you can definitely hear the chunk. really nice that you can find a lot of great songs that you can play with a sound like that. Now this is more of a straight ahead classic rock type of thing, more of like a, you know, that kind of thing where you can get. And the nice thing about this unit is that you can also plug in your own pedals into it. So it does have the ability to plug in an expression pedal. You can also plug in your own delays, your own reverbs if you prefer to go that way, some additional overdrives, you know. This is kind of like more of a straight ahead like type of thing, you know, or that type of rock, you know. And I didn't necessarily dial it in specifically for those tones, but it's really easy to get the tones that you want just by tweaking it a little bit, you know, and you can actually go quite deep into the editing features. Another cool feature on this unit is the fact that they do have over here a kill dry option, which basically means if you're using something that has modulation effects, you can actually kill it and just hear only the delay or the reverb. And that's really cool if you're trying to use a secondary speaker to emulate that big sound that Eddie Van Halen was getting, where he would get like a lot of reverb coming out of one side, panned completely left, and then the heavy sound out of the right. Well, you can do that just by hitting the kill dry switch, which basically just gives you the modulation. You can feed that through an amplifier, a small amplifier on the side of your 412 cabinet, and it's going to fill up the room. Now I can't do it here because I'm going straight to my DAW, and the DAW is just recording the unit straight in dry, so I'm not going through a cabinet at this point. So let's move on to the next one, and then we're gonna just stop there, and we're gonna start programming our own sounds. Here again, a lot of modulation. So pretty cool when you can take sounds like that and then just add a little reverb or a little delay just to give it a little sparkle. Now, speaking of sparkle, the new version of this software to actually update the firmware and to be able to put in the IRs in this unit actually comes with an update where they added like a shimverb. So you do have the regular reverbs, you have the spring, you have the plate and the hall, and if you prefer, you can actually take the shimmerverb, you know, the little sparkly reverb unit that everybody kind of likes, and you want those ethereal reverb sounds. It's a really cool thing to play with. I downloaded it, I tried it for a while, but I'm kind of an old school straight ahead rock kind of player, so I prefer just sticking with the regular plates and springs and halls because that's more of my bag. But I tried it out and it does sound really, really nice, and that's a new feature. So if you have the unit already and you haven't updated your firmware, now's the time to do that. 6B basically didn't have anything. It's basically a very dry, straight ahead sound, okay? So we're gonna take this, we're gonna go into programming mode, and I'm gonna show you how easy it is to program this thing. So this is where a lot of people sort of get in trouble because they don't fully understand how the unit works. So I'm gonna try and do this quickly for you guys. So to get into programming mode, first you gotta actually tell the unit that you wanna program one of the spots. So what you do is you just press the patch you wanna edit and just hold it there. You'll see that the unit shows an ED, that means you're in edit mode. So basically right now you're going to be editing this particular patch. From here on in, you can turn on or turn off any of the effects built into the unit. So for example, let's say I want to have a little bit of a distortion in there. So I'll turn on the distortion section, which is basically this, and all of the controls that are going to be used for distortion are here. So you have you know, the gain, you have the tone, you have the level. Of course, at the top you have the ability to determine whether or not you want to use a cabinet, you want to have your distortion and your overdrive work together, whatnot. In this case, let's just keep the drive going, okay? The distortion. So one thing that you have to know about this unit is that when you look at the knobs, they don't necessarily represent what's going on. So I like to start off by dialing all of these knobs back, okay? So just turn them off completely and start from there. That way you know that you're getting the right settings, and you'll see that when you turn these knobs, the light here will change, indicating what the level actually is. So what I like to do is I like to put the level to about midway, and then dial up the tone because it's quite dark otherwise. And we still don't have any gain on tap, so we're just going to turn up the gain there. So now we have a nice distortion sound already. So next I like to go into a modulation setting here, which is this, and I usually like to have a little bit of like a flanger, just to give it a little bit more depth to the sound. So we're going to turn it on. And here is another interesting aspect of this pedal. Some of the settings here are shared. So the modulation effect, you have a bunch of knobs here, and some of those knobs will work for both sides of the effect. On the right hand side, the switch, the little toggle switch, will control the effect type. So in this case, we want to have it in the middle, which is the phase setting. If you put it at the bottom, like this, then you'll have more of a univibe. So you can hear that univibe wash. If we put in the middle, similar but different, okay? So I like to have this phase sound, but I like to have it a little bit more subtle. So I'm gonna turn back the level. And we can obviously play with the depth and the rate. So I like the rate to be rather slow. So you can hear if I chug. So you can see how it goes up and down on the level. And on the right hand side here, I have the rate and the depth basically turned off. Otherwise, I'd be using the stereo chorus effect that share this particular section of controls, which I don't want to have any kind of stereo effect right now. So I'm just going to leave the flange. Next, I like to have a little bit of a delay. So I'm going to tap the delay switch here and see what I get. So as you can hear, I have a pretty slow delay. I prefer to have something a little fast. So I'm gonna just increase the speed to like a, not that fast, but maybe just have something a little bit like a tap back delay. Okay, and maybe bring down the level a little bit. All right, that's better. And the repeat is about right. I don't want to have too many repeats. Okay, so the repeats maybe a little bit too high. All right, now, what else I would like to, I think what we're also going to do is we're going to turn on the reverb. And you can see here that the reverb now is flashing. If I hit the control button here till I get to reverb, it's going to be on. As you can hear, now I have a spring type reverb, and I'm going to put it to maybe plates. but I'm gonna bring the level way down on it because it seems to be quite high. And I can play around with the decay of the reverb as well. So maybe I'll just turn the reverb. Now, the other thing you can do here with these switches, right now I have it set so that the middle toggle switch is actually indicating that the delay and the reverb are working together at the same time. And I could switch that so that the delay goes into the reverb or the reverb goes into the delay. So it's a subtle difference, but here I just switch it to the delay going into the reverb. I don't know if you can hear the difference there. Let me try putting it back the way it was. So you can do a heck of a lot with this pedal, and I'm really exploring it and trying to get more out of it. There's tap features. Like I said, you can connect an expression pedal to it. You can go in with your MIDI connections. You can go straight to your DAW. You can go into your cabinet. You know, it takes a lot less room on any pedal board. If you want to add it with, you know, your pedals, you can actually squeeze it in and use your favorite pedals. You can also just use the unit on its own. So guys, that's basically my demo for today of this cool Cerberus unit from NUX. Definitely check it out. I think it's a great little addition to your rig if you want to have something that is reliable, that is not that complicated, that is compact, and that you can throw into your gig bag, take to your next gig, and not really worry about it failing on you. Then this is it. Just spend some extra time learning on how to use it. Read the manual, then throw it away and just play around with it. Program some sounds till you understand how everything works, and you can definitely squeeze in a lot of tones just using the basic settings on this unit. It has all of the ins and outs you could possibly want, including MIDI and you know, there's a boost features and kill dry and all the great things that I mentioned before. So there's no reason why you can't get a lot of flexibility and tonal variations out of this unit at all. I've been using it for a little while now, and there's still a lot for me to learn, but I'm enjoying it very much so far, and I think I will continue to do so. So if you just want to use this unit to practice at home with some headphones so that you don't have to play through an amp, it's really fantastic for that. It's great if you want to go into your DAW and just put down some song ideas without being too loud in your studio. You can definitely do that as well. Or maybe you just want to go into your amplifier direct, kill the cabinet simulations on the unit as well, so that you can just make your amplifier do the heavy lifting, and then you can just supplement the tones that your amplifier is providing by adding a little delay, modulation effects, maybe boosting it with a little drive wherever you need it. So you can definitely get a lot of nice sounds out of it. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope that it wasn't too long-winded, but I'm trying to get through all of the features very quickly so you don't get bored. If you do enjoy the content that I'm providing here for you guys today, please consider subscribing. It really does help me out. If you want to be notified whenever I post another video, just hit the little bell icon and you'll get a message, because there's going to be more great stuff coming your way, guys, I promise. So as I always say, stay tuned, keep rocking, and guys, don't forget, it's not a bad thing to be addicted to gear, and you're not alone. We're all addicted to gear, and we'll get through it together. That's it for now. Stay tuned. See you soon.